Hi everyone, and welcome to Complete and Cast, the official podcast for Complete and Box video games. I'm your host Spencer, and once again we're joined by
Parker!
Remember last time in episode 33 when it was George? No more George. We're done with that.
Get him out of here!
Until next time. Get him out of here! Until next time. Maybe I'll have George on again, but
he's banned until he comes on.
He's banned until he is back in this room. But today we have Parker, and we're going to talk video games. This is our episode 36, right? Can you believe this is
impressive.
Our 13th game review? That means officially, by the way, the biggest thing about this is I've played 13 games in this year.
I didn't think that it would happen.
No, I didn't think it would happen either. I mean, I went in 20, probably 14 and 15. I probably beat 2 games each year. So this is really good. This is really, really good. And some of them, we liked. And others we didn't, Well, and, Resident Evil 6.
So, a lot of them we agreed on, and...
Today we won't. That's a great thing.
We will
and
not.
I think we had that was one of the big things I was going into. We started out the first 5 or 6 episodes, and we were like, yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. And then we had, a couple recently where we were really off. Darksiders 2.
Yes.
We ended up being,
very
2
different.
points off.
Yeah.
And Outlast... I ended up liking a little more than you.
Yeah, but that was pretty close, because we,
But at least we have that going on, because, we had a string up there where we're like, this game was excellent. How could we disagree
agree
with that, right? So
yeah,
now
exactly.
now we're talking different, because we're talking the black sheep of the Batman family. We already did Arkham Asylum and City, episodes 20-something. Look for them on the playlist. Now we're talking Arkham Origins. So this is the black sheep of the family.
For sure.
And
clearly the black sheep, because they're not doing a PS4 reboot.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
So a remaster or whatever. They did a
remaster of Arkham Asylum and City, and that's how we played them. And they did not for Origins. And I'm certain they could have fit it on a disc, but they didn't.
Yeah, well, you can tell why.
Well, I couldn't tell why, because we'll go into that. But yeah, it's the black sheep. People in general don't like it too much. Spoilers. It was made by a slightly different team, and we'll go into that. So when we do these reviews, just to go over this real quick, we grade on 6 different things. We grade on story, gameplay, sound, the voice acting, the music, all that stuff. We got graphics and atmosphere, fun factor, and replayability. And we do them all out of 10. Divide them by 6 at the end, and we have our aggregate score. So far, for any of those curious, I think that Arkham City is actually our best game overall.
Really?
There's a lot of really close ones, but I think Arkham City just ends up beating it by just a little bit.
It beat Doom? I thought Doom was ranked pretty high.
No, I actually brought you gave City the same thing as Doom, and I gave City better than Doom.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's close. I mean, it's close. We're talking the difference of half a point, but hey, so it's our best game so far. So Origins. Let's start with the story then.
Mm-hmm. So, origin story on paper seems like it will be awesome, because you're like, it's not necessarily straight up Origins. It's not like Batman Year One or anything, but it's early Batman. It's before Batman and Commissioner Gordon are buds. So Batman's still like fighting against a lot of the police, in addition to fighting crime. It's before Joker is even a thing. Batman finds some clues, but he doesn't know what Joker is or who it is or anything. So it's and it's also before Penguin gets disfigured and becomes
gets that thing in his eye.
Bottle half in his eye and stuff. So it's kind of like a precursor to and also because of the name Arkham Origin, it's the beginning of Arkham Asylum. At the very end, just to jump ahead a bit, the very end of this, we find Quincy Sharp talking about opening a asylum, reopening basically, because Arkham Asylum was an old-timey thing that went, has been abandoned. And so he's like, I'm going to reopen it. And, because we have a lot of problems with a lot of crazy people. So that's the premise. So we're following an early Batman. He has a good relationship with. There's a lot of Alfred stuff in this one,
and kind of importantly, it happens on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
So there's a lot of references this kind of thing.
So the one thing that this game does is hard to realize because it's open world and stuff, is that there's a lot of this story takes place in one day, which is crazy.
Almost all of it.
Right. Like, and that's something that keeps being referenced. Like, it's like, is this day ever going to end? Or, like, this is ridiculous.
And there's a lot of specific references. Like, I think Joker at some points, like, I got a Christmas present for the whatever.
Exactly. There's
and
a lot of
Alfred
stuff.
talks to you and is like, well, sir, you can finally come home and have that Christmas dinner.
Right.
It'll be breakfast.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. So,
exactly. So,
yeah, none of the other games before, like really pace themselves.
Yeah.
You could have, assumed that it takes place over, several days.
Right.
But this one is definitely, a 1 or maybe 2 day kind of thing because it's just, it's Christmas Eve.
The whole thing. So it starts out, you're Batman, you hear about there's some sort of prison riot at Blackgate, which is before Arkham Asylum, so basically everybody's at Blackgate. Like, crazy people and just regular inmates. And if you remember from Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, they mention Blackgate is where, some of the bad guys, recruit, so, Joker's thugs were from Blackgate, and some other thugs were talked about from Blackgate. So, we're aware of that prison, but you show up, and the commissioner, who is not Commissioner Gordon, because Gordon at the time is just a regular officer, detective, or whatever.
He's like a deputy or so. I forget exactly what it is, but he's
like
not
the head
commissioner.
of the detective part.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's not the commissioner. And so, what you find out through the riot and stuff is that this guy Black Mask is involved. This game revolves around him being like the kingpin guy. But the other thing you find out is that there's the police are pretty corrupt. Like the commissioner Loeb, I think his name is. He is pretty corrupt, and then you find out there's a lot of police under him that are pretty corrupt, which is definitely an early Batman trope for sure. One of the reasons Commissioner Gordon got to where he is because he is a good cop, not a corrupt cop like he was surrounded by, and he does his best to make sure that the police do their job. So you show up at the thing and you find out about Black Mask, and you fight Killer Croc there, and he lets you in on a secret that Black Mask has put out a hit on you, and basically put up a huge amount of money and hired 8 assassins, I think. Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
To come after you and kill you, and so they're all ridiculous. So Killer Croc, one of them, Deathstroke, Firefly, Copperhead, who's got poison fighting kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that ninja girl,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the ninja girl,
you got Fist Guy,
right. There's Electrocutioner, Deadshot, Lady Shiva, and then Bane. So they're all coming after you, and so you kind of encounter them over the course of the story in different ways.
Can I point out one thing really quick?
Yeah.
That cast is 1,000 times better than Suicide Squad, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
that literal one that you mentioned, it's what's her name? The Cobra one was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? And you only saw her for a little bit, but she was kind of cool. And she was way better than being hey, Boomerang guy, huh? How about that guy, huh?
Yeah, I didn't get that. And then the Shiva, I think she's part of the Ra's al Ghul thing, so they have connections to that. Lady Shiva or whatever, she's somehow connected as part of the League of Assassins.
And her thing is similar to them, where it's just we need to kill everyone and start afresh.
Exactly. The Electrocutioner, you don't really do much with him. He's kind of a cop out. It's kind of funny. He kind of a joke that he's there because you take him out pretty quick, and then I think he gets killed then by Black Mask as to be made an example of.
That was actually a pretty funny boss fight where I think all you have to do is hit him one time.
Exactly.
So he's like, and you're standing there and he's like, come here, and you just walk towards him and you press square once and it's yep, he's knocked out. That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
actually.
That was funny. So you go now. So while dealing with these 8 assassins who you encounter in different aspects throughout the game, you're also trying to figure out solve, detective style, solve what's going on with Black Mask. So it leads you to the Penguins. You get some clues and you go talk to Penguin for a bit, and that's where you fight Deathstroke, and that one of the hardest fights in the game, I thought. Anyway,
so yeah, that was actually
we
we mentioned in the Arkham City one at the very end. If you listen to that Parker said you are going to stop playing at a certain point. And he said it's a very specific boss fight. And when I did it, I lost a couple times, but I won on like the third try. Right. And I messaged you and I was like, were you talking about, because I didn't want to give it away because, whatever. I was like, are you talking about the guy with the sword thing? And you were like, oh yeah, Deathstroke's where you're going to give up. And somehow I did that. I don't know how. Like, that's pretty impressive. It was a pretty tough fight. It's a very QTE kind of fight. Right. I know we're talking story,
the other thing is like, it was also like
very long too.
There was like a pattern you had to remember, like, if you tried to fight too, like, you had to play it defensively where you didn't do anything until he did something, kind of thing. Like, if you tried to go in guns blazing like you do in a lot of fights, you would just lose right away. But it wasn't clear. Like, it wasn't like the kind where, like, like the Poison Ivy fight or something in Asylum, where, like, it's clear there's points at which you can't really hit her. Like, she's up in her pod, so, like, obviously all you're doing is running away. In this, he was always there available for you to swing at. So you think you can keep fighting him, and then you shouldn't be. You should be treating it the way, whatever. So if you played it defensively, then you probably would get through it. But like, if you weren't prepared for that, you'd be like, oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And it was also one of those long fights where when you die, it's like, start it over!
I feel like I did get a little lucky on that, but yeah, it only took me 3 or 4 tries. I was kind of surprised, actually.
Now, so you fight him, then you get a like this little cameo happens by this guy Anarchy, A-N-A-R-K-Y or something, and he's like this just randomly thrown in there. He's like trying to take down the town or Gotham, and while you're dealing with the assassins, it's like one of those one thing after another kind of nights for Batman. So Anarchy shows up and he's taking some stuff hostage. He's gonna blow up some stuff, so you have to like make your way over to him. And then in the meantime, you're trying to solve what's going on with Black Mask, and you also you go to like there's like a murder scene in a hotel. And Black Mask was murdered, and you're like, oh, whoa, I better go check this out. So you go check it out. Turns out it's not Black Mask, and the person that did the killing is somehow connected to a mysterious figure named the Joker. And so you don't know who
that was really cool. I don't know. I thought that was super cool.
Look,
when Batman was like, was this Joker?
Right.
I don't know. I kind of like that.
Absolutely. I wanted to like it, honestly. But a lot of it was in my mind, it was just done poorly. Like, I wanted to like the discovering of Joker. Like, that's awesome. And like, I love any story where Gordon is not the commissioner yet, because he's like so altruistic cop guy, and it's also cool to watch him like slowly like become friends with Batman. Like, I love that story. I'll watch it in every aspect, but for whatever reason, this just wasn't doing it for me. But okay, so you find out about this Joker guy, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You find out that Joker's planning to blow up the GCPD, or maybe you think it's Black Mask still at this time. I'm kind of hazy on when you find out, but you show up there and you basically like saving all these corrupt cops, because it's kind of a cool part, because you have to like sneak into the police department while all the police hate you, and both sides, like the corrupt police hate you because you're messing with their business, and like Commissioner Gordon and his guys also hate you because you're taking like justice into your own hands, and you're following the rules.
Vigilante,
right?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I don't want, like, we got to stop him at all costs. So, and while you're there, you have a little cameo or little beginning relationship with Gordon's daughter. This is obviously when she's still young and not paralyzed. and also pre Batgirl. But so she's there and she's like hanging out, and she, of course, because they have to be fun with it. Even though she's like 13, she's like a hacker, and so she's like. And she knows, and she kind of knows what's going on and disagrees with her dad, like, in his handling of it, because Gordon is, like, by the book, and she's like, you can't be by the book with these guys, like, they're all corrupt, and so she kind of helps you, gives you some information, and helps you behind the scenes, which is, like, a nice little nod at what, when she becomes Oracle much later down in the storyline. That's what about that time, I think, is when you find out that Black Mask is actually has been Joker for a while. Like, Joker has been pretending to be Black Mask pretty much since the beginning of, like, all the nonsense that's happened on this night. He's the one that put out the hit for all the 8 assassins and stuff. And so you find out that Joker, and then in Joker fashion, he's basically just doing it to do it. Like, he has no actual plan. He just is like, I want to cause chaos. And so you kind of have a confrontation with Joker. And you are at, like, this hotel, and he has, like, converted it into this crazy funhouse thing. And you show up, and it's like, like a Saw movie kind of thing. Like, all the floors are messed up, and
gotta
there's like
save all these cops.
Yeah,
and
and you're saving cops, and you're saving this, and you're just making your way through this maze, and you finally get to the end, and Batman's there, and I think Bane's there
Bane
too.
is there, yeah.
And so you're fighting off both of them, and Joker basically is just insane and crazy. But, like, there's a point when you're fighting Bane, and Bane jumps on, like, a helicopter and is flying away, and, like, pulls out a, like, RPG and, like, basically shoots the top of this hotel where there's already a bunch of explosives. And so, like, Joker's just, like, standing there like, yay, this is the only thing I wanted. And, like, he's, like, in true Joker fashion, is just, like, standing there outstretched waiting to explode into a million pieces. So you save him.
And I want to stop there for a second. For me, was the coolest part of the game, because if I remember correctly, it's like a big fall, and Batman specifically goes out of his way to, like, specifically save Joker. It wasn't just like, oh, he was there. He was like, he flew towards him, pulled him up, so Batman took the brunt of the fall.
Right.
And at that point, it was like, I think they did a really good job, despite the fact that Joker, and we'll get into that later, was not voiced by Mark Hamill. I think they did a really good job with, like, the Joker, like, even for how seemingly random he was like, this Bats guy is crazier than I am, because, like, he saved me, and you got to that point where, like, that was, like, the beginning of it, and it was like he realized that, like, Batman would never kill him, and also
because then Joker gets caught at this point, and so you hear Joker like ruminating over this, and they also have a moment where Joker gets introduced to Harley Quinzel. So she's still the Doctor at the time, and there's this. I will like. There was one cool moment where Joker is talking about Batman, and Harley thinks she's talking about her, and it's kind of a cool moment because that's like you realize this is where Harley is like, oh my god, this guy's in love with me, and really Joker's talking about Batman because he's just like, you would never leave me, you would never hurt me, and blah blah, like, and saying all this stuff, and like
pretty much like, I can't get you out of my mind.
Right,
it doesn't say Batman specifically. It's really neat. You play as Joker during it, and you're just kind of like walking along in like a little like level kind of thing, and he's just like he's like you and I were the same,
right?
We exist together. Without one of us, neither of us exist, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it is
Harley's
really
like,
funny.
Really? And Harley's like, you mean it? That's what I've been thinking, but I didn't want to say it. And Joker's like not even listening to her, and he's just talking his stuff out.
I thought they did a great job.
Yeah,
with that part.
That was pretty cool. I did like that. That was a cool moment. But yeah, so Joker's clearly like, oh my gosh, like learning about who Batman is and how he connects or whatever. Then there's a couple moments, like I forget exactly when they happen, but at some point you get poisoned by Copperhead and you're nearly dead, and Alfred kind of nurses you back to health. He creates an antidote and gets you okay. At which point he's like, you have to stop. Like, there's like a few more assassins left, and he's like, just stop. Like, just take a break, or like whatever. Like, it'll figure. We'll deal with this later. Let the police take care of it. That kind of thing. And of course, you don't listen to Alfred. You're like, no, I got to do this. I got to do this. So you basically track down the real Black Mask, who's been captured by Joker's thugs. Bane's there, and then you have to fight Bane when he becomes super juiced up. That's like towards the end.
Yep.
So Bane goes insane. But at one point you find out that this is where you find out that Bane has discovered your secret identity. He like has deduced it, and you find his hideout, and you're like, oh crap, Bane knows who I am.
And at that point, obviously, because his hideout is kind of, I forget where it was, but it was far away.
Right.
You're like, I have to get back to the Batcave because he knows who I am.
But then when you're heading back to the Batcave, Firefly takes his opportunity to start destroying everything, and he basically starts like torching like the bridge in the center of like Gotham. And so you have to make this decision of like, do I go fight Firefly, or do I go to the Batcave and figure out like, prepare for Bane to come? And you're like, well, there's people dying, at the bridge, so you make the decision to go and figure and take out Firefly, and you do that, and then of course when you make that choice, then you find out afterwards that Bane showed up and destroyed the Batcave and killed Alfred. And you show up, and Alfred's laying there, like, I don't know if he's breathing for a second when you show up, but he's like laying there. He might like just pass out like right when you get there, but there's a cool moment where you have the electrocutioner gloves, and you basically have to like, use them as shock paddles to like bring cardiac arrest type thing.
Honestly, that was
Alfred back to
life. That was
life.
one of those moments where I was thinking back, because like a lot small things will elude me, and I was like, is Alfred in Arkham Asylum in City? And then I was like, maybe it's a different Alfred, because I mean, God, they've done it for there's like 3 Robins, So
absolutely.
I was like, wow, is that a thing that happens?
Yeah.
So it had me where I was like, oh wow, damn,
they killed Alfred.
Oh jeez.
So you bring Alfred back, and then it's like, oh, it's okay, and then of course you feel incredibly guilty for having let Alfred almost die. So instead of like taking Alfred's advice and taking it easy,
of course you go
back out there and get more revenge. So you go back out, and you basically track everything down to Blackgate. The corrupt SWAT's there, Bane's there, Joker's there. They have, I don't know if they have Loeb or if they have.
I thought Loeb was killed early on. Or who was that was killed in the gas chamber very early on? Do you remember that? You get there a second too late, and somebody's dying.
Yeah,
in the
that's
thing.
true.
I think that was
maybe that was Loeb,
because it was someone very important. I forget if it was like the chief or what, but it was someone very important.
Gordon. They had Gordon. They had Gordon.
Yeah.
Right. So they captured. So Joker captures Gordon, and sets up a whole like Joker style thing where basically you make it through Blackgate. You finally get to where they are, and it's basically like, you, Batman, have to kill Bane, or I'm going to kill Gordon. Like, and he has this whole thing set up where they're like connected to some kind of their heart thing's connected.
Heart monitor in some
Heart
way.
monitor is somehow connected to the electric system. So basically, if you don't kill Bane in a certain amount of time, then the electric chair goes off and Gordon will get fried. So you basically have to make a choice. And because they put that moment in with Alfred, you kind of figure out, like, use your detective skills to figure out a way to trick the Joker. You basically knock Bane out to the point where his heart stops, and then once they leave, you then bring Bane back to life with your shock gloves. And so you basically trick Joker And so Joker's like, oh, he leaves because he's like, oh, you did it. I can't believe I finally, that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And then leaves. And then, of course, Bane, when he gets back up, goes insane and juices himself up super crazy, which is fortunate because you find out earlier that Venom, one of the side effects is memory loss. Yes. So luckily, Bane juices himself up for good and becomes the big, massive Super Bane.
Bane is done, I think, out of all the Batman characters, I think Bane is done the most different in each iteration.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the big things in almost everyone besides the terrible movie from the 90s is that Bane is like Batman's equal in terms of intelligence and he always knows Batman's identity. So the obvious question would be, okay, well, why doesn't he do anything about that? So this one gives you a good reason, like, okay, well, it's, he might remember it for a day, and then he forgets it because of Venom or whatever. But I don't know. It's interesting. Bane is done so differently in everything.
Yeah,
I like the way they do the Bane in this series. He's like he's like a mixture between the Dark Knight Rises Bane, where it's like very cerebral. Like, I'm the most cerebral person ever, but whatever. And
but also in the 90s in that
one,
he's more like he's like the that anarchy character in this, in that he's like, I'm going to make, like, the city, like, I'm going to do a lot of crazy stuff where it, like, makes the city, like, figure out what it wants to do. And, like just a lot of, like, weird, like, what are you even doing with your life, and what is civilization, what is society,
well, that's
like all that kind of stuff.
That's one of the cool things about all Batman villains, is that they all have a different idea of what they want to do with Gotham. Of course, the Joker being the best, because he doesn't give a crap. Like, it's just like,
it's just chaos.
I just hope everything's exploding, you know?
Exactly.
But like everyone else, like Bane's like, the Ra's al Ghul's like, we will build it up, you know?
Right.
And it's like, okay. And Penguin's like, well, we'll all be thugs,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I just want to be on top. Like, I want to run everything,
Yeah.
So, after that, you basically, after you save Gordon, you kind of have a moment where Gordon, like, lets you go, and it's the beginning of this maybe friendship, because Gordon sees, like, what you are.
He's still decently, like, kind of trusting, but kind of not. So they don't, like, go straight into it where it's like, thank you so much. Almost every time you see him, he's like, turn yourself in right now. Even late game, he's like, thank you, but turn yourself in.
Right.
So
yeah, there's like, I think there's like one moment towards the end where he's like, has his men stand down, and he's like, go ahead, because we need your help, like, more than we need to take you in. But yeah, and then basically that's it. Joker, gets away, and then you see the. But, obviously alluding to, like, oh, what more will happen with Batman and the Joker? And then, of course, there's the moment at the end where Quincy Sharp is, like, who at that point is not the mayor, because that's the city. But, yeah, he's just some guy, and he's like, I'm going to be opening and upgrading Arkham Asylum. And also, they threw in a moment where Amanda Waller shows up and is, like, talking to Deathstroke to, like, set up the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that part was weird for me, because I didn't see.
I don't
where
know
it was
if the plan was like if the plan for those Batman.
So that was so that girl that talked to Deathstroke.
That's Amanda Waller.
It was the Marvel movies though. I was at the after credit things. It was that.
Right.
So that was the girl that is in the Suicide Squad movie that gets everyone together.
Right.
Really?
Amanda Waller is. I mean, for people that read a lot of Batman, that's the known name. Like, she's the head of the Suicide Squad. So yeah, that was her, and just
I don't get the point of that then, because like
I don't know, maybe that publishing company was thinking if the game took off that they could do a series of prequel Batman games leading up to City, where it would be like the Suicide Squad or whatever, but they never did anything else.
Right.
So so I mean, like I said, I really wanted to like the story because it's got a lot of cool moments. And the whole premise of, like, an early Batman is always so great. Like, I love seeing Gordon when he's not full commissioner yet, and when he's also not Batman friendly. Like, it's cool, but
well,
yeah.
let me talk some reasons why I like it then.
Yeah,
and then you can shoot them all down for all I care. So the biggest thing that I liked was how Batman was like much more off the hook than I don't know what the correct phrase. He's like he is much quicker to like anger,
right?
And much like you can tell many times he is like very close to killing people. You know, where it's just like he still hasn't gotten himself down, so he's still very raw. I think raw is a good point. So like you know, in the other games, he would like knock someone out because you got to, or else they're gonna commit more crimes. But he would knock them out like very violently, where he would like, you know, talk about like breaking their bones or whatever. And you know, I like enjoyed seeing like things happen to him that like probably the Alfred thing was like the big one later in the game, but like you can like he was worthy of Gordon being like, oh, this guy, because he would, like, stop these villains, but he would also, like, break them in two, you know, kind of thing, where it's like, well, now we gotta rehabilitate these people, you know. So I really enjoyed that. I really also enjoyed the police thing. I really enjoyed how, like, all the police were against you, so it was like, you felt like, in the newer ones, at least it's like, oh, Gordon or Barbara or whatever will talk to you, and it's like, well, you have this little, like, army going on. And even in City, it's like, well, Catwoman's not a good guy, but she talks to you and she, quote-unquote, helps you. This one, it was you. It was, like, you and Alfred.
Right.
And then at a certain point, you're like, oh, my God, I'm alone, you know?
Right.
So,
And you don't even have the police. Like, at least in City, you can get to a certain point, and then you're like, okay, the police can help from here. Well, not so much City, but, like, because that's, like, separated. But, like... There in Asylum, there were some police that were like, "Hey, how's it going, Batman? Like, you're a good guy. Like, they like you in Asylum, until they all get killed off." But like, but yeah, so yeah, I can see that. Like, I see what you're saying there, but
and just in general, just like you were like very, it's a different kind of Batman, but like. It was very, like, you're on your own for everything. Right. So, like, you know, you're like, you're like, Gordon, just like me. I'm doing good. Like, what do I have to do, Senpai?
Right. For sure.
So, and I also really liked, like, I'm a sucker for this, where it's like, when he would be like, Alfred, do a search on the Joker. Yeah. And it's like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, it's probably one of those things where, like, it's only for the really hardcore fans who are like, oh, you really like this thing. But it's, like, kind of cool to see. Yeah. You know, like, it's like a big Star Trek guy. Like, if they showed, like, a prequel where Kirk's, like, was like, Khan? Who's Khan? You know, kind of thing. Where you're just like, oh, my God. You know, I don't know. So...
Yeah, I know what you mean, but, like, and like, that stuff, I was like, dude, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be, like, Joker's not a thing yet. This is great. But I think the biggest issue is that a lot, and this obviously is an understory, but a lot of the other game is so bad. A lot of the other aspects of this game are so bad that it hurts this. Like, it hurts story. Like, if I read through the story, I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. But when you're experiencing it, and the gameplay is like a little bit undesired. I mean, it's a little bit worse than City, but also the fact that you're playing it on the PS3, like, it's a little bit choppy. It's a little bit like slow. Like, you know, it doesn't have the power of the PS4. So it hurts on those levels. But then on top of it, they, for whatever reason, they got nobody, and I don't know why, but they have no of the same voice actors. Like, they're all these random people, and I hated Joker's voice actor.
I did not.
He was so
it's
cringy.
A different. But here's the thing. That is a different thing. You can knock sound all you want because of it.
Right, but my point is, if you're experiencing the story through Joker talking to you in a part, you're not going to really even be listening to what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it's going to hurt the story, because you're like, what? Like there were so many moments when anytime Joker was talking, that I was like, what? Like annoyed that I wasn't really like grasping like the full whatever he was saying. But like, I don't know, like, again, I think that because this one, I think, suffers too, storyline-wise, from from what we've played so far, from the open world aspect, because there's a lot, and there's those 8 assassins, and there's all the stuff. So to follow the main thread of the story gets a little bit convoluted.
It's the biggest world that we played so far. Is
Probably.
it bigger than City, or at least similar to City?
Oh, it's bigger than City because
Okay.
City, I think, is one part of this walled off.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So in this one, you have because in this one it introduced the Batwing waypoints, fast travel.
Yes.
And simply because it's big, and so there's that giant bridge in the middle. So you're like you could. I mean, unless you like do the fast travel, and even the fast travel takes a while. So it all just slows everything down as far as storyline. Like if you're like following the main story, then there's going to be parts where there's this injected 5 minutes of like nothing, of just traveling and or loading and or whatever in order to get to the next part of the story. So it's just like it just kind of, slows it down in that aspect.
I'll talk more about that on gameplay, but that part I don't disagree with. But I guess to end up story, I will say that out of video game stuff that I've noticed, and I'm sure it's the same for books and movies and all that, it's really easy to mess up an origin story because technically you already know the end.
Right.
So it's really easy to
you can't have a scare where Batman or Joker is going to die because you're like, I know they don't die.
Right.
Alfred, obviously, you could be like, oh, maybe it's a different, but for the most part, everybody's going to survive. So you're like, I'm not really worried about it.
But knowing that, I still really enjoyed it for that. And it's so hard to do an origin. It's so hard. Like, just look at the prequels for Star Wars. It's like, it just is. So, I don't know. I'm going to finish up on story. I had a good time. I don't know. I liked it. I really did. And
the one other thing I'll say is, since it was an origin, and it was kind of cool to see, like, the Joker's origin, or, like, Batman not knowing who Joker is, I still never grasped, like, what Joker even was doing. Like, I mean, I get that Joker's chaotic and whatever, but, like, I never really got across to me that, like, what was Joker's initial, like, reason to do anything. Well, obviously,
he mentioned at some point that, like, he was clearly new to town, literally, because he mentioned at some point he was like, you people in this town are crazy. You know what I mean? So, like, it was clear that he literally, wherever he was from, rolled into town and was like, I like this place. I'll take it over, kind of thing. I specifically remember that.
But he's from Gotham, and they mention that. Like,
do they? Because I specifically remember at the hotel part, him talking about, like, how this city is, like, whatever.
When you play as Joker in this, do you play through, like, his memory? Like, is that in this?
No, it's just him talking about Batman. I don't think you necessarily play through memories.
Is it this one, or is it... There was one where I was controlling Joker, and he was from the Killing Joke Red Hood thing.
I mean, I know you control Joker in this one, but
Do you remember a sequence where you're controlling him and he's wearing that helmet, and it's the whole thing where he's like... Because that in the Killing Joke, the whole thing was that you were like... Joker is just that guy, and then those dudes get him to, like... To dress up as the Red Hood.
Man, I honestly don't know, but anyway, we're running running out of time. So, honestly, like I said, I did enjoy it, even though it did have a little bit of problems. I'm looking at an 8 overall. Really liked it. Really did.
So, I mean, I'll give it a 7. Like, reading back through it, I'm like, maybe it's 6.5. I don't know.
What
6.5.
6.5?
Like, it was if I'm reading back through the story, like off of a plot synopsis, I'm like, well, that actually sounds pretty cool. But, like, I remember not enjoying it.
Right.
So, like, clearly I didn't... Like, reading back through it is one thing, but, like, clearly a lot of that stuff I didn't get when I was playing it, because I was, like, it was too chopped up or whatever, and so, like, a lot of motivations for people, I really didn't know where they were coming from. Specifically Joker. Like, it was kind of like, I don't need to know where Joker's coming from, but I need to know what... Like, where is he even getting this chaotic idea to do whatever is kind of just like, what? Like,
I guess they do assume that you just know that Joker's Joker, and Joker just does kind of whatever.
Because it's a very complicated plan. Is my
It
point.
is. I will say that it got me.
What? What is your point?
Yeah.
If you're doing this whole thing, like it's like, oh, I'm gonna get Black Mask, I'm gonna infiltrate him, I'm gonna pretend to be him, I'm gonna this, I'm gonna that, and I'm gonna do all this stuff, and it's like Joker like didn't seem to like I guess he knew who Batman was, but because clearly he put out the hit from the 8 assassins as Black Mask, but he doesn't know who Batman is because like he has that moment.
No,
so it was just a little bit
I will say
convoluted,
some of the Black Mask stuff did get a little confusing for me, but I'm still
anyway.
I'm still sitting at that. So gameplay. Now the biggest thing to mention on this is that it's on the PS3.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just nowadays we're used to it or whatever, but it's 2017 when we're doing it, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I did not have as many problems as Parker. Parker had a lot of problems with the like
very buggy,
very whatever. I
mean, I will say, I also got every single dang trophy. Okay. I got 100% because I can't not do that. And so I
did not.
I had more opportunities for it to be buggy probably than you did. Where like a lot of the Riddler trophies in this, and they're just Enigma trophies or whatever because it's pre-Riddler. A lot of them are like very like they require you to do like multiple steps. And so I think a lot of the times because you're using like multiple gadgets, it can get like weird, because you like, whatever. You're doing too many steps, and then sometimes the game can crash in that respect.
So here are the positives I'm looking at for gameplay.
Right.
Big world, so a lot to explore.
Big.
Very, very cool. The fast travel, although it does take a decent amount of time to load and all that, it's fast travel. That's very nice. I like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gadgets, and there's a lot of really cool gadgets.
Well, I will say that the gadgets are pretty much the same.
I'm trying to think of. I thought there were new ones. It's been a couple weeks since we played it now, but they're
like new, but they're the same like thing. Like, for instance, instead of the freeze grenade that makes water, you get a glue thing that makes glue. So it's like very similar. I missed the gun. I thought that was really cool in City, right? Isn't that in City where you have that gun that shoots electricity stuff?
Yeah.
This one,
but you do get the shock gloves.
You get these shock gloves.
Those are pretty cool,
and they're all right. Like they do basically the same thing. Like you basically go to like a generator thing, and you can shock it and power it up, and then it'll do its thing.
Those shock gloves for the second half of the game are like the most helpful combat thing by far. They're very
combat wise, those were pretty cool. But again, like I think like it's still just like a different take on a gadget we already saw. There wasn't any new like surprising gadgets.
I could definitely see that. The thing that I really like about like the gameplay throughout it is the bosses. I really had a good time with the bosses. The Deathstroke one is hard, but it's very different. There's nothing like that so far. The Electrocutioner is a joke boss, but it's funny, and I like it. The Bane ones I remember liking quite a bit. The one where you kind of have to fend off both Joker and Bane at the same time is pretty cool as well. Fireflies is pretty unique in that you've never before fought someone who's like airborne. Right. So like he'll come down after you've like I think you throw the glue at him, and then he comes down and you have to kind of like do a QT quick time event or whatever. And I just in general the bosses I don't know, I had a really good time with. I thought that they were very unique. Definitely better than Asylum, no question there when it comes to that. And honestly, probably on the level of City, because City, although it's a very good game, didn't like excel on the bosses or anything like that. So
the bosses were pretty cool. I'll say. I mean, I'll say the Deathstroke was annoying, and then also that Bane fight towards the end was very annoying. When he's massive and you gotta hide inside like
see that's weird things. Because I did it and I legit did it in one try. The one where it's not forever. Like a maze, but it's like a cell block, and all you have to do is I don't know why I did it very easy. In fact, what happened was this was minorly funny. I was about to beat it, and then I had to go do something really quick, and Ashley walked by and accidentally kicked the cord out, and like I was literally one hit away, and I was like, ugh. I started again and did it again in one try. So, like, I technically did it 2 times in a row.
Right.
So, like, I don't know how I did that. Like, in compare, I guess I just got lucky, but
that one took me a long time because every time I'd like peek out, he'd like already be there and he'd be pulling me out and slamming me, and it was like, and then when I would finally get him lined up, I would do it, and instead of knocking him into the cell block that was electrified, I'd knock him into the wall next to the cell block, and it was like, are you kidding me? Like, it was like, and I don't know, maybe it just was like I needed to delete and reinstall it, but I just had so many buggy issues with it.
That would be the biggest thing in terms
really
of negatives, and is that, again, when we played Asylum and City, it's been so long since I played them on the PS3, so I don't know. But we played them on the PS4, so they were very smooth throughout. There were times where I was just like, all right, I did not have the same experience as you. I really didn't. I don't know why. I didn't have the same, like, crazy experience as you. There were some times where I saw, like, odd bugs or whatever. And my PS3 was literally dying at the time. Right, still, I don't know. But it wasn't smooth like the other two.
I didn't do any research. It's possible that, like, because the other thing, like, since I know I'm going to 100% something, a lot of times, anytime a new area opens up, I get as much done as I can at my current level of gadgets. Like, rather than waiting till the end and doing all the Enigma trophies, I do, like, all the ones I can do at any given moment before I advance the story. And so then what happens is, it's possible that, like, the save file gets different because I had done a lot.
Yeah.
Versus, like, if you just go through the storyline and don't do anything.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it affects something. Because it definitely, like, unlocks a lot of, like, concept art and blah, 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 and all this stuff. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, like, something, like, internally, but I just noticed it was just, like, especially towards the end, it was just like, what? Like,
I will say, again, we might have a different experience there, because my biggest negative, probably looking at it, is the side quests were very uninteresting. Right. And in fact, when I beat the game, I was sitting there, and there were certain ones that unlocked, like I did the Shiva one, which was easy. You go to one place. No, you find a couple bodies, and then
a lot of them
whatever.
are just going, like, to a bunch of different locations.
There was that bird guy, I forget what his name is. Anyway, but you go there and it's like, fight these bad guys and then break this thing, right? And it pretty much is just like, go to this and then do this thing and done, right? So I finished the game and I'm sitting there and I don't want to do the Enigma ones because they're even more annoying this time, right? They're like, ton. It's like you, like, have to, like, he has all these, like, radio tower thingies set up that are, like, jamming you.
First you have to do those, and then after
I beat the game with having probably 3 of the... Once you unlock these areas, then you can, like, batwing them. I literally beat the game with having 3 of those areas still red.
Really?
I was like, dude, F that. I tried to do it for the one, and I couldn't, and I was like, F that. So that was, like... That was all the side quests. Like, I probably got, like, 25% of them in the other game. I got, like, 1 in this one, and probably by accident.
Right.
So that was bad. So I'm at the end of the game, and I'm like, well, do I continue? I had a good time, whatever. And I noticed when you go to the side quest screen, there's the part with, it shows you all the different, bad guys. Right. So I had everyone but Enigma 100%. But I had 2 or 3 that were, like, literally blacked out. And I was like, well... So what? Like, and like, I was just again, I could look it up, but I was like, not even bothered to.
Yeah, a lot of that is unlocking those towers and stuff, like, which isn't necessarily just Enigma. That's just unlocking, like, parts of the map. Do you know what I mean? And so
I get it, but I hated doing that. Even if that wasn't Enigma stuff, I hated doing that tower stuff. So the ones that I did were okay. Like, there was another Mad Hatter one, which was, like, exactly the same as City, right? Yeah, and it was, like, 5 seconds long, whatever. But, like, when I beat it and, like, I couldn't be bothered to, like, figure out what those last 2 people were, because I was just, like, I just got done with that Mockingjay or whatever that guy's name was, and it was, like, 6... Again, this is what you're talking about. 6 areas of the map that are all far away from each other. So everyone you have to fast travel
basically
to.
Fast travel.
Then you do it, and like by the end of it, you're like, well, that took like a half hour to do this, and it was just like not, it was okay because the combat's okay, but it wasn't anything great. So like I said, that's the biggest thing for me. Like once I beat it, when I did the main story stuff, I was having a pretty good time. I liked the story and whatever. But once I did that and was like, let's do these side things, there was like spoilers, when we do Arkham Knight, I like literally 100% of that game because I was like, dude, cool. Yeah. But this one I was like,
so that, I mean, and that's another thing. Like that's another thing that happens then, depending on like this game. Like it begs the question, like, how should you play a game like this? Because for me, I want to 100% it, And to finish the entire game story-wise and then go back and do everything else seems dumb to me. Like, if I'm in an area and I can do the stuff that I'm in, I'd like to do it now, right? So, rather, like, to try to save a little bit of just running back and forth. But if I do that, then that's going to stop me from seeing the story for a while.
Man,
like, you know what I mean? Like, it might be an hour and a half of gameplay before I see story again because I'm doing a bunch of side quests.
I would unfortunately say that the way to do it, at least for me, is just beat the story, and then if you want to do the side quest stuff. But the thing is,
doing
it that way,
like
you
doing
might,
it.
Whatever.
Right.
A perfect world for a game like this would be like all side things would be available right away. But I guess it wouldn't be perfect because then you would like be doing the main story, and you'd be like, no, it's just the main story. Because that's kind of there's a reason I'm not a huge fan of open world games, and like the only ones I play are the Batmans, because it's like you look at it this way, you're like, as I do a certain thing in the story, then it unlocks this area or this person, you're like, that's cool, I can go check it out, right? But then it detracts you from the story.
Right.
But if everything's available right away, you're like, why even do the story? Because everything's available right away, right?
But some games do it correctly. Like Vice City is a great example because you're like, every time I advanced the story, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I was like excited to see what was happening, even though there might have been like days of gameplay in between moments when I play story because there's just so much stuff.
But it also unlocks new stuff in Vice City, like new areas and stuff. Okay,
but it's like it's you still like, I don't know if it's just because the story was like done, like for me, if it was just that I didn't love the way this story was going, so then the fact that I had to wait long chunks of time in between it maybe hurt it even more. I don't know, but because of the fast travel being so slow, like
it was very.
I mean, and it was obviously faster than just traveling. Obviously, I mean, I'm not complaining that it because if I had to just go, it would have taken me even longer. But it took long enough that if I was in an area and I could do some stuff, I should probably do it now, because to warp back here later, I'm just gonna have to wait through those load screens, and so it's just becomes brutal. I don't know, but that's just a gameplay preference thing, I guess. I don't know.
I guess in general, when we're looking at the gameplay overall, it was solid but not exceptional, and it had issues. So because of that, I still think it's better than average because I played through it and I finished it, whatever. So I'm looking at a 6.5. Looking at a 6.5.
Yeah, I'm there 6. I guess sounds good because I just was like, nothing new. Like I said, the gadgets, while they were different, they were pretty much the same thing. Like, the explosive gel is the same thing as the other thing. The Batarang's no different. The Bat Claw, where you shoot a line between 2 points. Kind of cool, but, I mean, not whoa, that's brand new or anything.
No, I agree. So, moving on to graphics and atmosphere, let me start with... It's on the PS3, so we have to look at it like PS3.
Absolutely.
Can't be as pretty. Atmosphere... Again, these games always hit out of the park for me. I view them, the same. You can have pretty graphics, but if it's in a boring place, I'm going to be bored. So it sets up the Christmas mood, kind of cool, but without being obvious, without having all these Christmas trees everywhere and nonsense.
Yeah.
A little bit of snow falling and whatever, and it just sets this eerie, obviously dark, very, It sets a mood where it's everything hasn't gone to crap yet, but it's really close to, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And again, just in general, I just find the atmosphere to be, very good. The graphics were.
Now I have a question for you then, because I know you said in the other ones you ended up playing a lot of the game in that detective mode, but detective mode looked very different in this one.
I probably did a little bit less in it.
Because detective mode looked. I mean, you couldn't really see anything, until it was right up on you. It was really weird.
Probably because of, the bigger
the
game draw distance and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably did a little bit less. There's still times where I'll do the detective mode because, what's the word? You can see stuff that's at least close to you clearer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes, again, because it's Batman.
When you're in close quarters, I can kind of understand, but, in the open world...
no. Not as much.
It was crazy. But in the other ones... And that's why I was curious, is, I never played the other ones on PS3. But I'm I wonder, if some of the draw distances were this bad on the PS3 versions of, well, I guess really just City, or Asylum like takes place pretty close quarters.
Right.
But like I was curious because I like that, like it was like so, it seemed so limited. But I never played City on PS3, so I couldn't compare it.
I don't know. It's just one of those things I don't know if I ever noticed when I played it in the past. So honestly, given the hardware, I think they did a pretty okay job at it. Honestly, there's better graphics on the PS3. There's no question at all about it. But again, it's an open world game. You have to for open world stuff. It's not going to be as pretty looking as The Last of Us that only loads a little hallway.
I'm not really looking for it to. I wasn't looking for it to look pretty. I was looking for it to look not pretty, but then do its job. And I don't think it did either. Like, it looked not pretty, but then also I couldn't see past, like, the next building. And I'm like, well, if it's going to look kind of crappy, I should be able to see further. Like, one or the other. Like, either it looks crappy and I see further, or it looks amazing, but I can only see, like, 10 feet in front of me. But, like, I didn't get either.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's obviously there's limitations there. Again, other games in its anti-defense, other games on the PS3 do it better. There's no question that there's like other open world games that like do it better.
I remember playing Red Dead.
And you can see like miles. In front
yeah, it's amazing. You can see these amazing. Like I played friggin' Oblivion. Elder Scrolls, and you could see forever. And that game, I would run around for days. Like, that was great.
Yeah.
And it was just like, is this the same system? I don't know. It was just
lackluster. I think this is the big part where you can, one of the big parts where you can tell it's made by a different, company and all that.
It was a later PS3 game. So,
it was decently late.
You feel like they would probably be able to build off of what previous people did, but I don't know. In my mind, it reminded me of, like, they rushed it out a little bit, like, and they were just hoping that, well, it's got the Batman name, people will buy it. I don't know. It definitely didn't seem like they put as much time and effort as they did Asylum.
A little less polished. I can't disagree. Again, it's hard to tell what the PS4 did for that, but yeah. So if I'm looking at this overall, the graphics were, average. They weren't bad, but they were very average. But for me, the atmosphere was great. As great as the other two, if not a little better because of the time of the year and all that. So I'm probably looking at a 6.5 for the graphics.
Yeah, I'm at a 5 on that because I didn't like I couldn't really feel the atmosphere because the graphics were that bad. But I want to think that it was just because it was PS3. But as you're saying it now, I'm realizing there were plenty of PS3 games that blew me away.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait, that's true. It's not like. I guess in my mind, I was almost thinking we played this on the PS2. And clearly we didn't. We played it on the PS3. If this was the PS2, I would have been like, oh, this looks great.
By the way, if you want, for you listeners out there, if you want a great meme to use on someone when you want to make them real mad, like if there's like a big movie coming out that uses CGI and like they're very excited about it. So like say they send you over like a trailer or a GIF or a WebM or whatever, just go, what PS2 game is this? So like I'm gonna date ourselves a little. Wonder Woman comes out soon, and like people were like mad about it. So like they're people are like half the people are like very excited, and half the people who like Marvel are like no, I'm messing. Are like
I think everybody's pretty excited about it.
There are haters that are like they'll show like a scene with like slow mo then fast mo, and they're like, what PS2 game is this? And I gotta admit, it's a pretty good troll because you're like, no, it's top of the line, blah, blah, blah. So that one's always fun. So again, something comes out and it's like, look at this amazing graphics. No, what PS2 game is this?
Yeah, wow, looks awesome.
All right, so let's move on to sound. I will give you the floor here because I know you got things to. Say. You get it off your chest. Go ahead.
So the voice acting, like you remember, I gave a 10 to both Asylum and City in sound.
Verified.
Because frigging Mark Hamill alone, but also Kevin Conroy. They did not get either of them for probably like.
See, the thing is,
I'm thinking that they saw that game and Mark Hamill's like absolutely not.
I don't understand what reason. It's not like it's that worse of a game. In fact, I like legit think that it is like in terms of a game.
Maybe then they just didn't have enough money to give
It's got to be because it's not as. I don't think it's as good as City. but I don't think it's a million steps below. And honestly, if it's not right where Asylum is, it's a little better, in my opinion. Like, overall as a thing.
Wow.
Because Asylum has a lot of problems overall as a game. It has a great story, and it has a great setting, but, like, it has a lot of, like, it's just, I don't know, I gave it a good score overall, but, like, a lot of that's helped out by the fact that it has exceptional story and voice acting.
I don't know. I didn't have any problems with the gameplay in Asylum, but I had nothing but problems.
I just don't know why they wouldn't. It's not like it was like a terrible game where they're like, oh, well, we can't get more. I mean, this is like a quick, running out the thing because I had a good time, but
yeah. I'm curious. I'd have to look up to see what the budget
I will say that I did not really realize, or focus on the fact that Batman was different. I thought the guy did an okay job. It is pretty clear that because Mark Hamill's Joker is very specific, that this guy who did it was like just copying Mark Hamill, and I would rather them do like a whole different voice, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think anyone would have that.
It was so,
and he's younger too. So
here's the other thing. So apparently they chose not to use. I'm just looking at this now. They chose not to use Kevin Conroy because they wanted a younger Batman early career voice.
Okay.
Which is the dumbest thing ever.
Why couldn't they make him just seem a little younger?
Yeah, just talk be like, hey, can you talk a little younger? Like, he could have done it. He's a friggin' consummate professional. But anyway, so they chose not to use him because I was kind of surprised because Conroy's not pulling in a ton of work, so it's not like he's picky and choosy. Whereas Mark Hamill can probably pick and choose a little bit more. But whatever. So, I don't know, but there was a couple times where I was, because of the fact that I was doing a lot of the side quests, especially late game, there were a lot of times where the side quests would cause me to die, either through getting beat up too much, or I'm on the side of a building, I'm trying to do something, and I just basically get hurt and don't realize where I'm at or whatever. So, the thing is, there was this one death scene, and all the Arkham games do it the same, where whatever particular enemy you're up against at that moment is the one who basically gives you the haha, I got you, And so a lot of times it's clever, and sometimes I would get frustrated at him because I'm just frustrated I keep dying. But I never was wanting to throw something. And there was this towards the end of the game, there was this part where Joker would say, "Ding dong, the bat is dead. Which old bat? The dead old bat." It was so cringy. I could not take it. It was like swimming with sharks level of cringy. It was so bad.
I'm the Joker, baby.
It was so rough. I was like, I don't know what to do with myself, and it kept playing. Which old bat? The dead old bat. I'm like, oh gosh.
I don't think I
could not. I was so expecting you to be oh my god, it was so cringy, I couldn't even take it. Because, you make fun of all the cringe Joker performances that are online, and, I was oh man, this is YouTube tier.
It was not very
I'm
good, but
the Joker!
I did not get that one. So.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. But anyway, so that was just so bad. They could have just, I don't know. I mean, maybe even if somebody was just doing a Mark Hamill impression and playing it super safe, but I don't know. This guy just was terrible at it, the Joker-wise. And Batman was fine. Whatever. Batman was pretty forgettable, but oh man, that Joker was so bad. I hated it.
I do agree though. That's the big bad part. But I do think everyone else was okay.
Yeah, everybody else.
Alfred was cool. Bane was good.
Bane was fine, and Penguin was good, and the assassins were fine. Nothing stood out, but they were they did their job. But I mean. And that's the thing. If I'm supposed to care about this origin story of the Joker, becoming a villain in the Batman universe, and it's I'm the Joker! It's So, yeah, that for me was too much. I couldn't take it.
To quickly sweep through the rest of the sound stuff, the music was average,
Whatever.
forgettable, whatever, not bad, not good.
No,
the sound effects were as they always were. Okay.
I don't think they were as they always were, because I wasn't immersed in any way. So I would assume that the sound effects were just average.
Yeah.
As opposed to like when like in City, where I feel like a lot of the talking and stuff was really
you know what?
cool,
That's true.
but...
They didn't have a lot of like the thugs just being like they did, but it wasn't as much as
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't as memorable anyway.
So yeah, I mean, just looking at it, you do have to definitely dock points for the two major guys, but everything else is pretty good. I mean, it was all right. So I think I'm looking at a 6.5 overall.
Right. So I would probably give like everything a 6. But then I would give just the voice acting a 0. So we'll go like a 4, I guess, because like if the music wasn't fine and the other characters weren't as like average, like this would be getting much lower. But like that Joker, man, that almost ruined the game for me.
I cannot disagree that he was not great. So, moving on to fun factor. I had fun. I did. I don't know.
I believe you.
I legit had fun, and it was funny because like we mentioned on a previous episode, like when you gave me the game back, and we're like, all right, I'm done. You can play whenever, and then we'll do this podcast. You were like, have fun, but it was literally like one of those like, have fun.
I will.
I was like, I will, and I did. It's like, so I don't know. I actually like it because we don't have this. We don't have this.
To like it out of spite.
No,
and that's fine.
No, because like I like to dislike things. Everybody who knows me knows this. I like to be the old man who's like, like I went into.
To have the opposite opinion of the norm. That's really what it is.
No.
And nobody likes this game, so you're like, this is my favorite!
I don't know, there's like stuff I go into, like Outlast was our last one, and I wanted to like it so bad. And I swear playing that game, it had nothing to do with the fact that everyone liked it. It just made me question at the end,
oh yeah.
Well, maybe everyone else is plebs.
Yeah. That was rough.
And maybe there's something about this that I'm just not getting, that like either I'm the pleb on this or everyone else is, where they're just like, City is grade A and this is grade F kind of thing, and I'm like, well, it's not grade A, but it's
I mean, I'm looking at the scores. It got pretty much 7s to 8s to 9s across the board. There's only one Destructoid is the only one that gave it a 3.5 out of 10. Pretty much everybody else thought it was like above average, like 73, 75.
Maybe that's just one of those...
Metacritic rated at 75, so...
Maybe it's one of those games over time that just people kind of forgot, because it's like, there are, over a span of like 7 years, 4 Batman games.
Right.
And 2 of them are excellent.
Yes.
One of them's very good, and then one of them's Origins.
Right.
So I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, I had fun. Like I did it. I played the whole game. Besides I'll dock off a little because I did not have fun doing the side quests, and I didn't do the side quests. But the main story stuff, I had fun, and I was like very engaged, and it was like very like, I don't know, I had fun with the bosses. So honestly, I really, really did have fun with it. I'm probably looking at an 8 overall. Like I said, I don't know. I feel like apologizing to the world, but I had fun.
I would give fun factor, I would give it a 6 because, like, well, maybe I'd give it even a 7 because, like, I did keep playing it. I didn't put it down even though I hated the voice acting so much, and there were so many bugs. But I did keep playing it, and I think that a lot of the, I did kind of enjoy the Enigma trophies side quests. That one was pretty fun because, like I said, that I kind of liked the you get the tower, and then you go and you interrogate a thug, and then so I ended up not having to look anything up on this one, which I thought was really cool. Like, a lot of times when I get down to the last 5, I might look it up just because I'm like, I have no idea. But in this one, the way it worked, you destroy the tower, and then when you destroyed the tower, you got you would find a bunch of thugs in the area that worked for Enigma, and you would go and interrogate them, and you would basically beat up everybody else around them and beat them up to a point, and then you could interrogate them. And when you interrogated them, they would just go, oh, okay, and then you punch them out. And then that unlocked all the area trophies or whatever.
How is that any different than the other ones?
Oh, so that was in City too? Okay.
Yeah.
So that I was just thinking that it was slightly different. I guess the other thing that was different was there was you also had, not only did you have to get Enigma trophies, but there was the relay station. So there was the tower, and then there was these like little things that you had to blow up. Okay. Or is that in City? Where you had to like batarang these like little like Wi-Fi boxes that were on the side of buildings.
Okay. No.
And then if you get like every area, there's like 10 to 20 of them, and then as you unlock those, more stuff unlocks. But I don't know. So I had fun on that aspect, and obviously I finished the game even though it was like buggy. So must not have been having that bad of a time. Otherwise, I would have just put it down.
So you're looking at a 7?
Yeah.
All right. Now the very last one. Replayability. This is always the one where, going back to it, I don't know how often we even give good replayability scores.
We should just get rid of it.
Even you for Doom, who you really enjoyed it, you gave like less than a 7. You know what I mean? So this is definitely one of those games, when we look at replayability, obviously a 10 is like, I literally replayed it already, right? Like I started it right away. A 5 is like, I would, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And like a 2 or a 3 is like, I would have physical pain for doing this. I have like legitimately no interest in replaying this again, like for any reason. Now that I know the story, like it just City. Well, you didn't even want to finish the side quests. Immediately after playing. I mean, replay this game. Right. They're literally, if I ever got the luckily in the world we live in, if I ever got the itch, I would just type into YouTube, Batman Arkham Origins, all cutscenes.
Right.
And you could watch like an hour-long movie and be like, oh yeah, cool, right? So like that's it. I have like legit no interest. It's a little bit less than average because like I really don't want, you know what I mean? It's not just I don't want to, it's like I really don't want to. So I'm probably looking at a 4 overall for that. I just do not want to replay this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give it a 0 because that seems like a cop-out. But there is no chance that I will play this game again. So, I don't know, like a 1? I mean, like, I can't... there's just no... I can't see any world where I would play this again.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it seems like it would literally cause you physical pain to play it again, so...
Yeah, it was... like, I mean... Like, even if somebody was like, oh, show me those bad parts, I'd be like, just check them out yourself.
So, overall, as expected, we're looking less than City and Asylum, for actually both of us. It's just, it's an experience that I enjoyed, but some of the stuff that really hurt it, like the replayability, and just in general, the little rough around the edges kind of game. I'm sitting at a 6.58. Again, it's stuff that, like... when looking at... I don't think I've ever actually given a 6 before. It's either like... Oh, here we go. Revelations 2. It's a little bit better than Revelations 2, because Revelations 2, like, I really, really don't want to play again. I really don't want to play that game.
That's true.
Right? But, like, everything else, it's either, like, ends up being, like, very, very low, like a 3 or a 4, or ends up in the 7s or 8s, because we've played a lot of excellent games. Yeah. Resident Evil 7 and Doom and the Batmans, and I enjoyed the Darksiders, So, like, this was one where I was just like, kind of thing. So, yeah, like I said, I'm sitting at 6.58. You're sitting at a 4.92.
Is that my lowest?
No. You just gave Outlast a 3.5, and I can't blame you. Yeah, Darksiders 2, you gave a 5.8, and Revelations 2, you gave a 4.9. So, this game's actually extremely similar to Revelations 2. We were both almost dead on with our scores for it. So
yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel. This is by no means a spoiler. I love Arkham Knight.
Right.
I loved everything about it.
I'm glad I saved this one.
In fact, it was my favorite by and that's actually an unpopular opinion because like I don't know if it's a recency bias. Like for instance, without going this whole thing, generally Zelda is a great example of this in that the newest Zelda that's out, people hate. Right? So, like, when Twilight Princess was out,
except for Breath of the Wild, but...
Except for Breath of the Wild, right. People
but
in general... before
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
So like when Majora's Mask was out,
Right.
people like in general, besides your huge Zelda fans, hate it. Well, now everyone loves it. Now
Right,
people
yeah,
are buying
that makes
Skull
sense.
Kid hats and
Right,
wearing
right.
sweaters and paying $100
I
for
see
the.
Majora's Mask stuff everywhere.
We have a friend that
I know
has
that wasn't popular.
we have a
at the
friend that has a
time.
tattoo of Skull Kid. Now
Right.
to his benefit, he has like always been into it. But still,
Right.
it's like
Yeah,
people are paying $100 for the game, and Majora's Mask is my favorite, so it'll be my favorite. Wind Waker came out, and remember the whole thing was about the graphics. Anyone who says back then that like, oh, I was always on it, it's like you got to question them because it was so divided, right? But now Wind Waker's loved, right?
Yep.
So loved.
Exactly.
Twilight Princess came out, it's too dark, I hate it, whatever. Now you know,
they bothered doing a reboot. Obviously,
now
it's
now at CIB we can't keep copies in stock for the Wii. You know what I mean? It's like the only game we sell for the Wii, right?
Yeah.
So like besides Breath of the Wild, which was a completely different and in general like very enjoyable kind of thing, there's a recency bias with Zelda where it's like I hate it, and then 5 years later, oh my god, you know,
best game ever.
You know,
Right.
before with Ocarina, everyone loved Ocarina, it came out, so that one was different. But everything between Ocarina and Breath of the Wild, like a 15-year time span, was like, oh god, I hate it. And then it was, oh yeah, no, I love it. You know, so I feel like the same thing happened. The reason I brought that up is I feel like the same thing happened with Batman. Maybe there were too many Batman games in a short amount of time, but when like when Arkham Knight came out, I actually ended up playing that one decently close to when it came out. I think it was one of those where I was like, I'm not taking a new copy, but the second we get a used, it's mine. And it was like a couple weeks later, and I was like, yep, up, doing it. And like I loved it. And I would talk to customers, and you know, they were trading it in. I'd be like, how'd you like it? They'd be like, nah, it was alright. Like, I thought the Batmobile stuff was whatever. And, like, for me, again, without going into too much, I was like, that's the best part! You know what I mean? I was like, that's the best part! So, I don't know if it's just that, like, people were kind of like, I played, because I never played Origins. Maybe like, I played Origins, and it was okay. Yeah, that's and then I played Knight, and I'm a little too Batmaned out, but
Because if you get if Origins, like, though clearly it wasn't rated very poorly, but that's magazines rating it or websites, that's not regular people.
Right.
So if regular people were like, ugh, Origins sucked, then by the time Night comes out, it's like, you got a uphill battle here.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah,
so
that's understandable.
This is one of those that when we replay it, it'll probably be a couple games from now, because we have a couple other like odd ones on the fray for the next couple ones. I'll be really disappointed if I don't really enjoy this game because I like did literally everything except for like some Riddler trophies where I just was like, I give up. But I was like 80% done with them.
Yeah.
So that's really good for me. So I'm really, really hoping on the replay here that I like it again. I really do. I think I will, and I'm not going to force myself clearly because that's lame.
Right.
But I'm really hoping that I like it again, and I'm hoping it's recency bias that like in the future like people like this game. You know, they didn't hate it, but like people were like, nah, it's alright.
Right.
I guess that happens to a lot of games nowadays. It's like, well, what'd you think about blah, you know? And if it's not GTA 5, nah, it's alright.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, that's what's weird though, because like we compared to everybody gushing over Outlast, and then we played it and we were like, what happened?
And that's not even recency bias because that game is like relatively new, so it's not like people were like, I hated it, now I love it, or it's like always loved it kind of thing.
I don't get it. Like, it's just like I haven't played Night yet, so when I play it, I'll have a better opinion. But in my mind, if it's like City, I'll love it because City was great. So if it's like City but better, I'll love it a lot probably. But like if it's there was no aspect of Outlast that I thought was like worth like recommending.
I did talk to a couple,
except like just a couple scare moments. Like if you just want to be creeped out and scared of stuff, then fine. But like there's nothing else in it.
My hypothesis from last episode is ringing true. I did talk to a couple people who were picking up Outlast, and I was like, oh, what do you think about it? You know, do you play it before? And like, I think every person I've talked to was like, yeah, I really like it. I never beat it or anything. And it's like, that's why. It's like you play it for like, you download it on Steam.
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
like $10.
And that's where our consensus was.
That's
if you played the first 15 minutes, game of the year. If you play through the whole game, it's garbage.
I mean, it just...
But if you play through that first 15 minutes, I mean, now, also if you don't read the notes, play through the first 15 minutes and then don't read any of the notes.
I mean, it you know, it happens. There's a lot of games and movies and media. Some of the hardest things for them to do is to end right.
Yeah.
You know, even something great like the original Star Wars trilogy, it's like, does kind of end with a bunch of people just dancing and whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's very, very difficult. Even a game I love, like Life is Strange, I was like, well, that ending was kind of dumb, huh?
Well,
so it's
your
like,
version was dumb.
well, whatever. But yeah, like just in general, it's like if you only ingest like 30 minutes of something, you might really like it.
Yeah.
But it's not the whole thing. So
Absolutely.
anyway, thank you guys for watching. I think next up will definitely be Outlast 2.
Yeah.
No question there. And then after that, like I said, we're going into hopefully some like more bizarre games, PlayStation 3 stuff, and stuff that maybe you're completely, hopefully unfamiliar with, that we can talk about something that maybe get you into. So thank you for watching / listening. Thank you for watching.
Watching the static logo.
The static logo.
As you were listening, you staring at the logo.
Somebody, by the way, was like, it was like a friendish / customer. I forget who it was like, yeah, I really like your podcast, but like maybe you should do like a video thing too. And I was like, nope. At that point, I'm video editing. I don't want. When I do these things, it takes me 10 minutes. No, it takes me 2 minutes to put it together.
Right.
The only thing that takes time is the processing of the video. It's like, dude, I don't. Maybe have a face cam while you're doing this. I'm in my jammies, dude. I'm in my jammies. I have a freaking blanket on me. What am I gonna be like? I literally let my hair down. Like, come on, bro.
Now, what you should do is find footage that specifically is what we're talking about at any given moment.
Okay. Oh my god, that's so much work. Can you imagine? Like, if that was my job, yeah, I'd do it. Oh my god.
And I was like, the shock gloves are very similar to the other thing, and then you cut to Arkham City with the gun.
Yeah, if I was paid to do it, I guess I would record 50 hours of footage and then go through it. But otherwise, it's like, boy, use your imagination. It's fine. So, all right, no face cam coming anytime soon. Maybe one day I'll change it up. Maybe one day I'll just put 1 second of footage in like 30 minutes. Wait a minute. Like someone who just has, because I have it on in the background on my phone sometimes when I want to re-listen, and you just look at her and be like, did something just pop up on my phone? Oh, it's like that one part where Joker, and like he shows up for 1 second. All right, thank you again for listening, and do not watch. Do not watch. Thank you again. Bye.